Today, we're going on a journey that brings our rich First Nations culture front and centre in the tourism and hospitality world, a place where our knowledge and our traditions are celebrated. We're about to meet 4 industry superstars whose ability to inspire, teach and connect has led to a truly meaningful career. I can't wait to find out more. Meet Damien, native food supplier, artist and cultural educator. He's helped many Aboriginal students connect culture to their career, especially in the tourism and hospitality world.
For me, it's about connecting back to country and place. So I'm an Adnyamathanha fella and Dairy fella. So ultimately it's about paying respect to our ancestors in that regard. And then it's about celebrating Aboriginal Australia, 250 Aboriginal nations, looking after their resources in the way of plants from land, sea and water, and embodying that story in that. And I think that's the most important thing to do, is celebrate story and people and community through those resources. Today we meet on Nudgee country. It's a beautiful country in the Clare Valley, and we're in Armour on a 90-acre property. Native food really opens up the conversation. The first thing is looking at it, such vibrant colours. It's the tasting experience as well, but then it's about telling the story around that native ingredient, what Aboriginal nation that connects to. But it's all about that authentic experience, but then relating it back to that first tasting experience that you've had with your students in the classroom.
Would you believe in Australia there's over 6,500 different native edibles? And at Wandu, Damien's retail shop in Clare, they use about 60 of those in their products.
Is the Kwangdong. It's the tea from the Northern Flinders Ranges, and it's really one of my first food experiences with my grandmother. Just taste that. We, through Wandu, make a range of products with that, through our jams, but also our teas.
How can someone who hasn't, tried native foods before get involved with using them in their own kitchen?
I think it's just about trialling, experimenting with a recipe. So for example, the wattle seed is something that you can make into a coffee alternative, or you can add to making a damper or bread.
The Aboriginal Cultures Gallery at the SA Museum is a fantastic place to do a deep dive on First Nations history. But for an even better understanding, join a tour and you'll be able to ask an expert.
My name is Atika Ukala Sanderson Bromley. I'm Adnyamathanha, Naranga, Wanganura and Yaliyandi. So Adnyamathanha is from the Flinders Ranges, Naranga is from York Peninsula, and Wanganura and Yaliyandi are from Simpson Desert across to Birdsville. Most of my work through Bookabee is doing tours, so I do a lot of museum tours, botanic gardens tours, and even get the privilege of being able to work up on my country doing tours out bush and school camps and things like that. At the museum we do like a social history and culture tour, looking at some of the artefacts and cultural implements they have here, and even some things that belong to my family or that my family would have used. So I get to teach people about my biggest passion and teach them about our customs, traditions, the diversity of our culture and all of its beauty. So what we're looking at here are toas. These were cultural implements that were passed on to the eldest son of each generation, and this would give that man the authority to speak on behalf of their family on different matters at meetings. This one belongs to my family. Right now it would be belonging to my dad, being the eldest son of the family. Students looking at tourism or any kind of cultural education, I would say feel comfortable talking in front of groups of people. Take every opportunity you can to get back on country and to connect with your culture and your family and your elders, because they hold so much knowledge, it's just insane.
No matter your passion, there is a learning pathway for you. Whether that's learning through a flexible industry program, a vet course or even university. Speak to your program coordinator to find out what your options are.
I think the benefits of starting your career in school while you're still young, you're getting a head start on your career before potentially others would be. A lot of people are really willing to help and support and share their experiences with you, so I'd absolutely recommend.
Enthusiasm and passion for tourism runs in the family. Next, we're off to meet Aitika's brother, Jamari.
Many of us have walked through Adelaide's botanic gardens, but have you ever stopped to consider the cultural significance of the plants here and how they're used? It's like a trip to the supermarket, but heaps prettier.
So this is the macadamia tree. Basically, if you have your crushing stones, you go smack bang over the top, cracks it open, and then you've got your macadamia. The name of my business, it's called Gumanindi, and that's the Ghana word for becoming one. I think it's, a nice fitting for my business. It's delivering education and spreading the word about Aboriginal culture and history. So this tree here is something called the Parapara tree. I'm looking at a lot of different plants and trees that have basically been used for thousands and thousands of years. And, in that sense, it's, basically how we've lived off this land in terms of food, medicinal plants, hunting tools and techniques and everything. So we want to find where that water level is first, then cut a hole just below it. And then that way we're only taking enough water for yourself. It's been stuff that I've been able to learn since I was 5 or 6 years old, spending time out on country, spending time with family, where you get to learn from your nanas and pops how they did it, and then how they use these plants, and you go, okay, cool, how can I use that in a business aspect? Being an entrepreneur is probably one of the greatest things that you can do, because working for yourself, you earn your own income, you get to choose how you operate. I'm now in a position that I absolutely love, because I get to do what I want, basically.
Cooking up a storm in the kitchen of A Prayer for the Wild at Heart is Louisa. And while the kitchen space may be small, the flavours are huge.
So what got you interested in food?
Well, growing up in the York Peninsula in Moonta, we were always big families, always eating. We have a big block over there, a few acres, growing native herbs. The boys would go spear fishing and then they'd bring back all the fish, and then my nana would do a certain butterfish stuffing, which was just never had it before. While I was in school, I did a course with Oz Harvest that went towards my Cert 2. Then I finished year 12, and then I started my apprenticeship in 2019 and did my Cert 3, and now it's been 4 years and I'm finally qualified. In the future, I do want to be able to become a leader and a role model to the younger generation, to be able to get more Indigenous people into work.
When we celebrate and embrace our Aboriginal culture, it empowers us to choose meaningful training and employment pathways in the hospitality and tourism industry, enabling us to share our Aboriginal culture with pride.